Mm.
We're live.
So the people who don't know you actually call you generator.
Yeah, generator. Yeah.
You are like a WWE
WWE player,
generator.
or like a Terminator or something like this.
Huh?
Okay, let's Facebook. Are we live?
So is this linked to Facebook? Is this
This is
Yes.
linked, but you know you really use Facebook, right? In China.
No, I do. I use Facebook. The local people, they don't have access to Facebook.
Okay.
So this is linked to Facebook and YouTube.
Yeah.
Oh.
Is there access to YouTube?
I can access to YouTube on another phone.
So where you at exactly, Andy, right now?
I'm in Shanghai.
Shanghai. Where exactly in Shanghai?
It's I live in an area that most Korean and Japanese people live in. So it's like the international area of the Puxi, the western part of Shanghai.
Western part. Okay.
Yeah. It's not too far from the office, so I can drive to work every day.
Okay.
Try to be on time.
Where's the last office?
It's in the center. It's right in the center of the city. It's called Carry Center. It's
A Carry Center.
Yeah, Carry Center. You have a Carry Center in Singapore as well, right?
Do we? I don't think so. It's part of the Shangri-La group, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, Shangri-La. Yeah. So we have Shangri-La, and then right next to the business building, and then the office building, we have all the offices.
Okay.
Right. Let's see.
So now you want to introduce the.
Okay, we've got a few people joining us now. Okay, so if you're just joining us live, we are here with Andy Zhang. Andy Zhang is the co-founder of Langenation, this incredibly popular Instagram page with 17.4 thousand followers, and his own Instagram page, A Generator, is has got a following of 32.9 thousand people. Okay, you probably know him as Generator, as he just told us earlier. And he's a collector. He would call himself a millennial collector. He's got an awesome wealth of knowledge when it comes to watches, and especially Lange Söhne watches, for which he is the regional client director. And you're based in Shanghai, right? And
For now, yeah.
For now. Why don't you tell us a bit about what you do as Lange's regional client director?
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you, Melissa. Thank you, Alvin, for having me today, and thank you guys for watching my first Facebook Live ever. I'm more than 30 years old now.
It's much over there, right, in China. So it's all.
No, I mean we've been using Facebook for a long time. But yeah, so speaking of this position, it's a brand new position that I'm blessed to be given by the brand. I am the first to take on this position, even in the long history. That was a brand new position created for me. So people see the client director
for you.
Yeah.
How did that come about, and why would they want to do something like that?
I know. I mean, maybe it's just that. I don't know. I just got a call and said, "Hey, we've had this position. I think we should create this position for you." I'm really grateful to my few bosses. They are super supportive, and they're designing this position because they can maximize my ability to explore my position. So when we look at the client director, it's not a client director. When you go to a hairdresser salon, that a client director is basically designing your hairstyle. That's not not what you normally see. So my part, we have the China mainland business development, And I also have the regional business development, which is a combination of the retail, the actual retail business, and also the branding and the marketing activities. I'm also here to introduce a new clientele program for the brand, so we get more and more young collectors or emerging generations to appreciate Lange watches in a different way. I mean, some of them, I don't know, they've had more than 50 Nautilus, or they've had more than 100 Daytonas. It doesn't even matter, because at the end of the day, eventually they'll become super interested in Lange, and then I'll be able to meet them and to have some proper good chat.
Yeah, I think also one of the big reasons why they want to have you on board at Lange is because of this. Hang on. Right, that's your IG page, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And you have like, your IG game is strong, man. You got a lot of followers, and mostly Lange watches, and you are kind of almost an influencer, I would say, in the watch sphere. So you were a collector first and foremost, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to be an influencer. I mean, you need to have 500,000 followers to be a real influencer. I consider myself to be lucky to have quite a few followers as a guy being in the industry. And then, there we go. Yeah.
And
That's
also, just like to put this up also, you and Langenation, this is obviously you have a passion for Lange watches, and gain quite a good online community that you built along with, for the Lange fans.
Yeah.
So before you turn so-called professional as a employee of Lange, you were a huge Lange fan and Lange collector, and a watch collector in general. Maybe you want to step back a bit and tell us a bit more about your journey of into watch collecting and how you started Langenation.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I started my Lange journey. It was like 6 years ago that I bumped into datograph. It was one of the most beautiful movements I've ever seen in my past collecting journey. So I ended up buying a watch, and then because when you buy a watch, right? So for guys like us, I consider we're still young, you want to show off. You want to find somewhere to show off. So there was a very popular, trendy app at the moment. It's called Instagram. So I registered my Instagram, I log it on, and it's all like Patek, Rolex, Audemars Piguet, not even Hitcher Mill. It's all these traditional brands. I was looking for Lange, and I could barely see any Lange wrist shots. Then we met. So me, Frank, Ben, and Glenn, so the four of us co-founded this community. We met in Sydney, that when I was in Australia. All of us had the same issue. So we all were in the field of the best Lange watches. Not even us, can find anything on Instagram to appreciate it. We can find some pictures about Lange, but they're very old-fashioned. I'm speaking it in a very gentle way, but it's very old. So all these wrist shots. So we said, well, why not take wrist shots with Lange, with some trendy, maybe vintage cars, menswear, whiskey, some trendy elements. We see how it goes. So we started with Langenation, and we probably had 4 followers, which is just full of us. So we followed this page. Within a year and a half, by the way, we decided to repost anyone who contributed a good wrist shot of Lange on the community. So we started with 4 followers. Within a year and a half, we reached around 6,000 followers, organic. We didn't spend any money on this. It was all pure. Then, luckily, we have amazing, I call her Wonder Woman, which is Anne. She's now the managing director of Southeast Asia and Australia, and also John. And they decided, okay, why don't we do a collaboration with Langenation? That's when they did the event in Melbourne. So they also invited a guy, SJX, and then he did a very good article about this community, and then that really brought us a lot of credit. It was a couple of years ago. So then the followers grew all the way to now, as you can see, about 17,000. Yeah.
Okay,
that was the story.
Even before you, I mean, Lange is a watch that takes, I guess, some time to get into. You usually get into watches with Rolex, Patek, Omega, or whatever different brands before you reach a point when you got to Lange. But when you started getting interested in watches, I mean, what kind of watches were you interested in? It wasn't Lange straight away, right?
Was it Lange from day one?
No, it was definitely not the Lange for day one. It was Panerai. It was Panerai that I was so addicted to this big chunky watches that I was reading all of the history about Panerais for their pre-A, pre-V models. All of these Shigeru movement, Rolex movement, those vintage Panerais. Then they move on to the Bronzo. All of these elements. I think the key element for anyone who is going to love Lange is that someone is, if he wants to be different, he doesn't want to follow the trend too much. Then Lange will definitely be a top option for him. He doesn't want to follow the trend too much. He doesn't want to be 100% off-white guy. So he wants something different. But when he moves to Patek, he's having a problem because his dad is wearing a Patek. He's like, right. No, I don't want to be like my dad. I'm on my own. I want to have my own network. I have my own circle of friends. I want to prove that myself are different. Then they'll be looking at Lange. That's this kind of stories always happened. Even now, I'm working with Lange. I still see that stories happening.
Okay, but back in
the Lange is a young man's Patek then.
A young man's Lange.
So when you got into watches, were you into the whole status thing? I mean, how old were you when you first got into the buying watches?
I bought my first watch for my father, actually, because I was given my James Bond Omega when I went to my university. I went to a fairly good university. My dad was proud, so I got it as a gift. Although I really struggled to graduate, but still I got my free watch. But after graduation, I bought him a Royal Oak as a gift. So that was 2011.
You're a good son.
No, thank you. So that I was just thinking that if I give him a watch, then he can give me another watch afterwards. But it didn't happen. It didn't happen. But that's how it started. I started wearing watch at primary school. At 9 years old, I was wearing my watch. So I was wearing my Adidas chronograph. It's a fancy chronograph that all of the hands are not attached to the dial because I was smashing the watch. It's a cool watch. Adidas chronograph. Then you went to Casio. By then there was some fashion brands like Please. It's a brand that David Beckham was the
ambassador.
Ambassador. So that was a journey. Yeah, lots of weird brands.
You mean for young men, getting
us.
And you could get a Omega James Bond Speedmaster from your dad, and you could buy him an AP in return. That showed that you could have the capacity to spend, right? And you also could have gotten into many different kinds of hobbies instead of watches. But what drew you to this particular hobby?
That's a good question, actually. That's a very good question. So for me, I feel like watch is a part of myself. So I have to wear something on my wrist. If I don't wear something on my wrist, I feel nervous. So the other thing is I'm not that into modern cars. You know, if I buy a modern car, then I drive it out. Hi, Lana. Thanks. By the way, Lana, she's leading the Langenation in Hong Kong as well. She's becoming very, very popular now. So it's very hard to get a number from her.
Hi, Long.
But I don't believe in. I love vintage cars. I love watches. Hey Ben, but vintage cars are too expensive, right? They're ridiculous. And then I'm not based in Shanghai. I'm not even allowed to buy any vintage cars. Hey Daniel, so I chose watches. It's something I can carry with myself, right? That's the special character of watches. You know?
Right.
You can only drive one car, but you can carry 2 watches.
Yeah.
Okay, there's this comment by Jianrong Brian that says that the price of Lange makes it not easy to gain access to. That's why it's so exclusive and unique. But is price the only factor?
I guess to complete Jianrong's Brian's view is that I'm a believer that nothing is for free if we're talking about good stuffs. We talk about good whiskey, good watches, cars, and nothing is for free. So the price point will somehow justify a watch. But when we're talking about the price point of a Lange, I still believe it's still underpriced. So it's not as expensive. If you look at I don't know, a chronograph, 1815 chronograph, or like Lange Matic perpetual calendar, then you compare to some competitors' watch models, they are much cheaper. But you're getting every single bit of that you can get in the watch.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, that's Ben. By the way, that's our co-founder. Yeah.
Oh,
Hi, Ben.
okay.
Yeah.
Hi, Ben.
Yeah. There you
Thanks
go,
for calling in. Just ask Andy some tough questions. Okay?
No, please don't ask Ben.
Ben says he's a huge fan of the outsized big date, so he prefers the datograph, but the Zeitwerk is his all-time favorite Lange model. What about you, Andy? Do you have an all-time favorite Lange model?
My all-time favorite, I have 2. So I have the one in my collection, which is the yellow gold homage 1815 jumping seconds. That's paying tribute to Mr. Walter Lange. He passed away, and I'm lucky to have my watch, and I'm lucky to have my desired limitation number. Because there are only 27 of them, then I have my preferred limitation number. If you're talking about the ideal watch in Lange, I don't mind having the 1815 Hanwha Tourbillon. So that would be my favorite Lange for now.
Right.
Right. Okay, before we go on, I want to play this clip that Andy, you did an interview for Lange.
Yeah.
From YouTube.
Yeah.
Let me try to share this.
It's growing. So, how would you describe yourself? A watch collector, a watch enthusiast, a watch expert, or a businessman, or an entrepreneur, or just someone who wears the watches and gets on with their life? How would you define that balance in your life?
For me, I'm definitely not in the watch industry. That I have my own family business. I would consider myself as a new millennial collector.
Yeah.
Yep, new millennial collector. So, what exactly does that mean? You're a millennial collector, of course, in terms of age, right? So,
how is a new millennial collector different from a traditional collector in that sense?
Yeah. I mean, to keep my promises when we're doing the rehearsal, I want to be very upfront and honest in today's live talk. So when we talk about millennial collectors or some generations that the people are young and they are able to spend quite a chunk of money on watches, It's not a rocket science because the grandparents' generation or the parents' generation has been able to saving some money for the kids. That's how the kids are able to use some of the money to buy watches. So that's also another not a problem, but another challenge for the millennial collectors because millennial collectors has to be young. I don't look young anymore, but it has, we have to be young. You have to be passionate, energetic. You have to be very. You're willing to switch your mind in a very short time frame. So the traditional collector, it might take them 6 years to 7 years to complete the whole watch collecting circle. The famous curve. For millennial collectors, it might only take them 6 months. But they will come back. They went to this curve and they will come back, and then it goes more like an infinity circle. And then people are trying to be very different when they are labeled as a millennial. They want to be different, but they also want to be having the best watches on their wrist. They are aggressive in watch collecting, and they're also aggressive in the way they want their opinions to be accepted by the community or the watch world. That's how I define this category.
Okay, I mean, to begin with, the term millennial seems to have a lot of negative connotation, whether you're a watch collector or anything. Just because you're millennial, people think that you haven't been through enough in life to enjoy things that are due to you. That's what older generation people would think of millennials, right? So at the same time, the millennial market is such a lucrative market that all the watch brands want to get into and try to make money of you guys, right? So my question is, what does it take for them to understand the mindset and reach out to you guys and talk to you guys?
You mean for the brands, from the brands?
From the brands to sell watches to millennials.
Give you an example from Lange that I take my job to speak to the millennials, right? Because that's me, that's my life, that's my real lifestyle, and that's my real life. Then there's a resonance between me and the millennial watch collectors group. So if we look at the title, we're talking about truths and misconceptions. Millennials are actually a lot easier to approach, and they're a lot easier to accept opinions, and also they, if you invent all white ceramic watches or invent some new material, it will be the millennials to throw in money first to give it a go, right? And then the fight between millennial collectors and the traditional collectors, it's an internal fight. But trust me, if we're looking at the real respectful traditional collectors, such as my good friend Gary Gass from US, I did a great IG live with him. We have zero problem in communicating, and he's actually teaching me a lot. And I'm even taking notes about some of the watch journey that he's been experienced. So it's more about people. The fight always happens between the millennial collectors and the traditional collectors, but they are not the real group of these two collectors. But the real legit people, they never fight. They always sit there and share their true opinions.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, in watch collecting circles, there are good stuff and there are bad stuff, right? I mean, a lot of times when me and Melissa talk to watch collectors,
well, most of the watch collectors we talk to are really nice.
They're nice. They always present an opinion that watch collecting is, very open, welcoming to different people, whether you are rich or whether you're not rich, whether you have a lot of watches or not a lot of watches. It's a welcoming community. But the fact that it's an expensive hobby, that excludes a lot of people. right?
Yeah.
The fact that it's an expensive hobby draws a certain kind of people to the hobby. People who are rich, people who can afford luxury things, and people who probably would have a bit of an ego, right? So, in your experience, what are some of the good and bad things about being in this community?
There are quite a few, but I'll just talk about the main ones. Let's talk about the worst things first.
Yeah, probably that's not able to solve, right?
Yeah. So the worst things about watch collecting is that, let's say a kid on the street, he wants to join this community. So he go borrow a Tourbillon watch and then he switch on his watch. Then he can go somewhere and show off. Then other people will label him as a successful young millennial entrepreneur because he was wearing a Tourbillon watch. That's something that's really not so good about watch in the not so watch collecting, but in this in the current world, that people try to make the judgment too quick. They want to make judgment about some people that if they're wearing a fancy watch, they must be super successful. But they don't really spend time on knowing the people. They don't really spend time on getting to know them, and then sometimes what made them successful, or what is actually happening with this guy. So the misconception or the pride and prejudice that this kind of theory is happening in this watch world, that's something I don't really like. Because if you are buying a watch, that's the best thing. You're buying a watch for yourself. Buying a watch for yourself. You don't want people to judge you, and you don't judge people, right? You buy the watch to enjoy, and potentially it could even be a good asset that you keep over, I don't know, 10, 20, or 30 years. It is something still valuable that you keep with you. But if you buy, that's a good comment. Yeah. I agree.
Yeah, so you're saying people shouldn't judge and people should buy watches just for themselves. But when you go for a watch dinner, most of the time, you're sitting around a table, and because it's a watch event, straight away you are looking at someone else's watch and you're asking.
Because you're in Singapore. You're not in.
Is that right? It's not a Singapore thing. And then you ask, like, oh, what watch are you wearing? And a lot of time that question is a loaded question because a watch can make you feel good or not good about yourself, especially in that kind of setting,
Yeah, I agree. Even for me, sometimes if I wear some of my favorite pieces, I still feel like I also want to show off. Did you have this? Nah, I got this watch. It's good. Here's my story. But you can't really do that often, right? You can show off one time, but then switch back to the mode of showing the real passion. That you will have some friends, because otherwise, if all the time it's just you showing off your best pieces, that's not fun. That's not the mentality of doing a GTG or something. Right?
Daniel says the watch industry could do with an injection of humility. What do you think about that?
Humility and a lack of jealousy was something. Of course, yes, that's right. But it's hard to control the jealousy, right? It's just time will tell. That's how I say it. Time will tell. You might be, you always see that. There are many GTGs happening all the time. And then maybe the first 5 years, this group of people are so good friends. After 5 years, there's another group of people. Only time will solve this issue.
Yeah, it's always. You hear a lot of stories about this watch groups that start off nice and then there are breakaways and then they get into road sections.
Oh, speaking of this, there's one good solution. You wear a Lange one and you go to a GTG. I haven't seen anyone talking bad about that watch. I think that when you go to GTG, You can wear your, I don't know, you wear your Daytona Nautilus on your right hand, left hand, but borrow a Lange or wear your Lange. That would really help.
First, you gotta have the Lange to wear to the GTG, right? Maybe we borrow from you.
Give me a call. Give Anna Jung a call.
Yeah. So yeah. I mean, now that you are on the other side, I mean, from a collector to being a someone who's working from a brand, how has the transition been? Do you think that your passion has changed its shape somewhat?
I would say three things. First of all, I don't have that much excitement because I see my favorite watches every day. Second thing is, I have more passion than I had before because you have lots of passion when you do watch collecting.
I think we lost Andy right there. No, do you think so?
Are we frozen again?
Yeah, let me just add him to the stream again. Let me just check.
Well, Ronald says, I've learned to enjoy and admire watches without having the need to own them. I mean, I think that's definitely true for me. I don't have a lot of disposable income, but I get to see a lot of nice watches. And I think that's the great thing about our job, Alvin.
I think well, I mean, for what we do, we have to see and interact with the watches, right? But yeah, I mean, it just, it just goes to show that how much more you have to
aspire to
or save to get a watch. It's like, I don't know, people who like enjoy cars, they don't really have to buy every car that is out there on the market and try to own all of them in order to appreciate them, or like perhaps like even to put in a more general sense, like for art, you don't have to own all the Monets and the Van Goghs to be able to appreciate it, right?
Yeah, that's it. I wouldn't mind owning a Lange one.
Yeah, it's been my favorite. It's been my favorite for many years, and
Grail watch.
Yeah, I remember we were talking with one of our friends and wondering whether if we could actually
pull together resources and share a Lange one.
No, actually, like have enough money to own one in our lifetimes.
I'm sure you can.
Let me just try and get Andy and see whether he can hop back into the chat again.
Ben says he's tired. He's probably tired of us.
Yeah. Frank says, "Come back, Andy." Yeah. I also need to come back. I also need him to come back soon. Yeah. So it's back to what Daniel said about watch industry having to do with an injection of humility and jealousy. Do you think there's a lack of it, or there's people are being too proud and too egoistical in the watch community?
I think it to actually be able to purchase a good watch like a Lange one, you actually do need to save a lot of money. Hi, Andy, welcome back.
Yes. So what happened is the bloody China Mobile kicked me out. They asked me to buy more data.
You were blow drying your hair, were you?
Yeah.
Where were we?
You want to blow dry your hair, and Daniel says you want to be having a facial. You're gonna be having a facial. Yeah. Yeah, you definitely look a bit fresher after you came back from the drop.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So what were we talking about before he got off?
That's the best and worst things, I think.
Oh no! The transition from being a collector to a brand person. And you said your passion has increased. Are you sure that's not just not PR talk?
The other thing is that I wish there could be more guys like me joining in industry. It's not a joining industry. Being with a brand like Lange or the brands means that you're being with a corporate. So there are many things to be learned that you can learn as a corporate life. But then still, I still wish there could be many more guys like me joining industry, and that would really change the industry. That's how I feel it.
Why do you say that? And first of all, what kind of guy are you? And why do they need more guys that like
guys like you meeting like
more guys like you? As in, what kind of attributes do you bring to the industry that is lacking right now?
So you need to have a very good hairstyle. You need to have a slick back. You need to find a good barber. Okay. You need to know how to wear a nice suit, a set of suits, and you know to know how to drink whiskey. At the same time, you have to sway around of being the identity as a watch collector. So if you are too deep into watch collecting, yet not thinking too much about how the business is running, the business behind the watch brand, then I don't think it will be suitable for the industry. But if you can think the problems on both ways, if you know there's revenue involved, there's business about this brand, how this brand would survive in the next 50 years, those kind of questions, if those are the questions that you're super interested and you're willing to explore, then I think you're ready to join the industry.
I don't know, from I guess from media's perspective, the experience has always been that brands obviously want to present the best side of themselves to the collectors, to the public, right? And as media, it's our job to present that side. But obviously, as a collector, you go to a brand, there are things that you like and you don't like about a brand, So if you're working for a brand, it almost seems like you have to be having a game face on all the time and like everything about the brand all the time. So does that not sit well with you as a collector?
For me, I'm living as I have my it's a family business. I'm a staff working for Lange. I'm also a watch collector. I'm also very passionate about menswear and other lifestyle stuff. So the mix of this identity would really help to. By the way, this is Frank, one of our other co-founders. So a mix of the identity would help that you can bring the resonance between you, myself, and the collectors. Let's say the collectors are they're not into watches yet. There's some collectors are complaining about their own business. You need to be able to share some opinions or to share the topic with him regarding other topics other than just watches. So there are many things that you can link between the brand and the collectors. And there's a philosophy from the brand. I believe every brand has philosophy that you can really tell the collectors about this philosophy in a different way. Because when you see information from media or when you see information on the website or I don't know, SIHH, the commercial event, people look at it in a different way, right? You think it's a commercial activity. I think that's sometimes that makes a difference. Being as a watch collector on the other side really help to get real opinions from our clients or the collectors about their take on the brand.
Oh, okay. No, I mean it just feels like as a brand person, I mean if I were working for a brand, I would defend the brand all the way also, Like for example, right? Audacious Lange just launched the the Odysseus late last year, and of course, you know, every time a brand wants to try something new, there are a lot of opinions, good and bad. But you know, because of who you are and what you do, now you have to find yourself like favoring the good opinion, right? Instead of the negative one. I don't know what's the experience like for you.
Does it mean
Yeah.
that now you can't have negative opinions about any Lange watch?
At least publicly.
No, I still stay true. If I don't stay true, even to myself, what's the point of me joining the industry? I can say that in the public way. What's the point of me staying in the industry? That if I'm acting just everything about this watch is super positive, you guys come and buy these watches, that's not me. If I do something that's not me, I would rather not doing it. I mean, for my friends who know me, that I'm very simple in that way, and I'm very stick to this this mentality. But that kind of help, you know. Sometimes when a friend's showing off his collection to me, I'm like, bro, that's not good enough. Because I said it in such an honest way, he goes like, okay, what do you think I should get next? I'm like, well, buy a Zytalk striking time, and he bought it. So the conversation ended up very well. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So
You know, I just want to ask you,
Thanks, Mark.
as a collector yourself, right? What are some of the do's and don'ts when it comes to appreciating watches?
Oh, yeah. The do and don't. Let's start with the don'ts, right? I think are we mixing business with pleasure? Yeah.
sorry,
Anyway.
that's done now. Sorry. I had too much.
Did I go off topic?
What? Do's and don'ts. Yeah. Oh yes. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
So don't buy a watch without telling your girlfriend or your wife. Okay, that's one thing.
Speaking from experience.
Yeah, is that something that you've always done?
You always buy them something first and then start working on your own piece. Yeah.
Guys, listen.
And don't spend all the savings on watches, because watches are not for investment, and they are not gonna get you anywhere further unless you have your foundation business or your foundation core of life. Next thing is, don't show off to all the collectors. If you have a really good watch, stay humble and don't show off too much. You never know who you're talking to, and
That's
maybe
impossible.
and maybe this guy knows a lot more than you do. Yeah.
You know, if Alvin had a Lange one, he would be showing up every single his neighbors.
You don't know what this is? Sit down and tell you what this is.
Yeah. And then okay, I have final one more don't. Don't take all the credits. If you make something successful, I believe you make it successful because many people have helped you. Don't take all the credits. You do it for once, you lose all the friends. I've experienced it, and then I have canceled some friendship. I've seen my friends cancel some friendship, and it's always happening. It's almost happening every day in watch community. But like I said, don't take over all the credits, and then do share it with your friends.
Sorry, what do you mean by don't taking credit for what?
For success.
So yeah, like if you, I don't know, if you're doing a project or if you're becoming a very popular collector, and then all of a sudden you're telling everybody, okay, all of this is because of myself. No one has helped me. I'm on my own. I don't buy that. How could you be on yourself for a bloody long time, and you think that everything just happened out of blue, and then you become famous? I don't buy that, and I'll never buy it. So instead, if you can go up and say, okay, all of my credits, yeah, I fight for my own, and I am happy I made it successful, but here are the credits to my friends, and that will bring you a long-term friendship. And trust me, you need long-term friendship in this watch world.
Okay, Andy, before you go to the do's, right? Daniel says, "Don't buy a watch you don't actually like." Has that happened to you before?
Yeah. I think it's definitely right. If you don't like something, why would you spend money on it? For sure.
I don't know, to show off. Or, I mean, because everybody tells you to buy it. Things like that.
Well, it depends, right? If I don't know, if sometimes if I'm able to support my friends, if I have the budget, even this watch I don't really like that much, I may even spend money. It really depends on the situation.
Yeah, and this is another don't from Lange. Yeah, but this is personal case, right? Personally, I don't know. Not a brand for me.
No comment.
I can't afford it.
I don't mind the sun blue. I like the sun blue. Maxime is my good friend, and that's my favorite Hublot.
Yeah. Wendy asked me to stop drinking. Wendy should ask Andy you to stop drinking also.
Wendy, that's tea.
We're all drinking chrysanthemum tea there.
Yeah. So we buy things we don't like with money.
We don't have to impress
people. Yeah, that's a good philosophy.
But dude, if you're single, you still want to impress the girls, right?
Me? Not single, man. I'm married. Or if you were still single.
If you know you're married and you still want to buy something and to impress girls, that's the natural mentality of we creatures. But you do it in a nice way. You do it in a very well-educated, smooth way. That's all I can say.
Is that how you impress your wife?
I wasn't wearing a watch when I proposed because that took my budget.
So what about the do's of watch collecting then? What should people look into before they buy?
Okay. Do start. Do start with a fixed budget. Okay, and then you can stretch it, but do start with a fixed budget. The next thing is do pick up a good movement or functionality. Let's say you always love a chronograph, go with chronograph. Because sometimes if you pick just by dials, you might regret after a couple of months wearing a watch. And then the thing is to do share your happiness after buying a watch with your friends. Do share it. If you haven't found anyone that can share the same happiness when you got your watch, do find someone. And that will really change your life. That changed my life. So, yeah. And do get the girl. Yeah, do get a girl's number if you are showing a girl your watch.
You that's how you managed to convince your wife. That's what you sold her. The philosophy of watch collecting.
For those of you who have just joined us, we are talking dating tips, dating 101 with Zhang.
Sorry?
We're talking dating tips with Zhang.
Okay. Well, let's talk a bit also about, stuff. I mean, you shared with us a bit of stuff about your legacy collection.
Yeah.
Right? So just give me a minute. Let me just pull out. You want to talk about the Lange ones first or the other stuff first?
Let's talk about other stuff first. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I think it's my first time to show this picture publicly on Facebook.
Okay. But on Instagram, you showed it to 32,900 already. Okay, the other stuff first. Let me just share this. Okay. I'm not sure we can see this very well, so maybe you just want to go through them, like what they are and why they are your legacy.
Yeah.
In a very
first, I'm calling it like the foundation pieces or like the foundation collection in my safe. That you can see the box. It's a Goyard, but it's six. It has 6 slots because it's discontinued, so they no longer make 6 slots now. They only make either 4 or 8.
Okay.
So that is something that I really love. And then on top of that, you have, I don't know, I mean, you all see the anniversary Nautilus, the Jumbo, 5966, then the Rose Gold Rainbow Daytona, the real one, not aftermarket, then the 5131 World Timer. All of these watches happen for special occasions and for special celebration. So top left was the very first series Patek that I got from the headquarters from Patek Philippe. And then the Daytona Rainbow is like a proof of a long-term family friendship between my family and the Rolex AD. And also I got the enamel World Timer and also top down, the yellow gold 1815 homage jumping seconds for my 30th birthday. That these are the 2 watches that I ordered, and I got them very much on time for my birthday celebration. And then I was also wearing those watches when Daniel was watching the show. That Dan, me, and Calvin, we created the first Shanghai Watch Festival. That was a very, very good memory in my life. And also then the 5960, it was a family gift because I accomplished a very good milestone in my business. Yes, and the Pepsi. So the Pepsi also is something that I managed to have from a good friend who was also running a business, and then that's also a proof of the friendship. Yeah. So as you can see, this full box is about, I don't know, birthday celebration, life milestones, and friendship. So these are the foundations. When I call it foundations, this is actually something that Gary G told me, that he said you're going to have foundation pieces, which means unless, I don't know, there's an earthquake or something, even if there's an earthquake, you still take the box with you. So this is the foundation, right? You will always keep these watches.
So I mean, the watches you have in there is not so much about your taste in the watches, but more in terms of how you connect with the watches, in terms of memory.
There's a taste. As you can see, 5 of them are on bracelet. So I love watches in bracelet, and also I love the watches that you can wear. You can wear it very well with I don't know, with a very nicely made bespoke suit. So sorry, no AP. No, I have the AP at work clock, but no AP in this box.
The AP went to your dad, right?
Sorry.
The AP went to your dad.
Yeah. And then I think if we're choosing 6 spots for all my watches, they are not so important yet. Yeah.
Okay. So I realize you think that, okay, I mean, I know these are your foundation, so-called foundation pieces. Do you think that there will be more to add to it?
Yeah, there are more, and then there will be more on the way, and there are some other pieces. For example, like the Hijamil. I love Hijamil. So if you're talking about favorite brands, Lange, Patek, Rolex, and Hijamil are my top 4 favorite brands, and I believe they're going to be my forever favorite brands in the future as well.
Okay, let's bring up
the price that you feel a foundation collection should be.
I think The foundation collection needs some special elements. So you got to have one enamel watch. I think that's what I feel. You need a bracelet watch. You need a jam set watch, and then you need a very good chronograph or ultra rare chronograph. I don't know, as something that you really love, and you need a very good daily beater. So you want something that you can wear, go fishing and over the weekends. So I think these are the sort of like the foundation criteria.
The Lange watches.
Yeah. So, by the way, the left one, the Datograph Perpetual Calendar, is my little brother's. Not my sibling, but my very good little brother's. So, but I borrowed his watch to take this photo. This box is a discontinued Lange watch box that Lange used to give to the Ultra VIP as a gift. The middle one is the champion piece. Like I said, I was wearing it with the Shanghai Watch Festival. I was wearing it even in my interviews with Lange. I was wearing it all the time, and it's in yellow gold. There are only 27 pieces of it, and it's a chronograph. It was a chronograph for the doctor at the 1900s. You know, it was a ritual movement to the old pocket watch Lange used to make. And top right is my work watch, the one I'm wearing every day. So that I wear in the office, wear for a professional life.
Okay, I'm surprised there are no Lange ones in the picture.
Lange ones, I have the lady one. I have the burgundy red Lange ones. That's my wife is wearing it. I prefer 1815 as if we were talking about a family. So you have a Zeitwerk Lange one, Saxonia. For me, 1815 is my favorite Lange family.
I can't remember whether we asked you that, but what drew you to Lange in the first place? Because it's not a watch typically that is attractive to millennials, right?
Because I was wearing the Panerai 604. It was the Firenze engraved one, 99 pieces limited, right? So I was wearing that watch. I was in Sydney. Then when you wear a watch like this, like I'm gonna ask you, what are you gonna do about it?
What
you do about it?
Yeah. So when you wear a watch like that, I mean, you're gonna go out and show off, right? That's the only thing you can do about that watch. So I go out and show off. So I walk to watch for Switzerland. By then it was 2014 or 2015. So I walked there. I want to show off my Panerai. This is the Panerai, probably the only one in Australia. I'm gonna show off. So by then the boutique manager Darwin, he's my good friend. He said, "May, why don't you sit down and I'll show you something else?" I'm like, I don't want to see anything else, right? I have the best watch on my wrist, and talk about watch in front of me, and I was full of myself by then. So he took out Datograph. He goes, I said, "Oh, that's pretty nice. It has a big date. It looks pretty cool. But my Panerai is better because it's an engraved case and it's 99 pieces limited." I was so into my Panerai. Then Darwin goes like, "Mate, why don't you just flip over and see the movement?" So I flip over, see the movement. There's Panerai on my left, and I saw the Datograph movement. I'm like, I was swearing in front of everyone. I'm like, this is a criminal, right? This is different. That's something that I got a crush on. So the following day, I walked by and I bought a Datograph. And then my journey with Lange started. It was really the movement. Yeah.
I'm just more shocked that you could just say the following day, I just went out to buy the Datograph.
Oh, I have some savings.
Okay, no, wow.
Yeah. No, I was going to use the savings for more Panerai. But then I look at it, I'm like, what is this movement, right? It's a chronograph. But how come, why the hell there are like 4 to 5 layers in this? Dan, if Dan is watching this, he's also going to datograph. If you see a datograph movement, you have the bright and the shades. You have the different color of this movement, and it's a different layer, right? It's like 3D. It's like a little German city in its watch case. So then I look back to my Panerai. I'm like, hey, I don't know what to say. It's an awkward point, but yeah. Then
it's
I made my decision.
Different class.
Sorry.
It's a nice watch, but it's probably a different class.
Yeah, I immediately categorize my Panerai out of my foundation pieces.
So now you're working with a brand, right? Right now we are in this situation where, we're faced with the COVID-19 crisis, and markets are just opening up. And I think we talked a bit about. I think we read somewhere about revenge buying. Like people have this pent-up frustration about having too much money and don't know where to spend. And once they can go out, they can actually spend a lot of money, and the luxury business is going to be up and running again. I don't know what's your feeling about this.
Yes.
Okay. It will also be my first time sharing some real situation in Shanghai. Let's give an example. Let's talk about Shanghai. So when we talk about revenge spending, I did maths and financing for my degree. So I always jump into this analytical side of this world. I'll give you an example. The top properties in Shanghai, we're talking about 5 to 6 million USD apartments in Shanghai, and people need to do lucky draw to decide who can buy the properties, because there are a lot more people who want the properties than the actual availability, right? So the revenge spending would happen with the traditional assets, gold, some safe assets like properties, good properties. But I doubt revenge spending would happen that quickly with watches. When there's hard time, they will consider other things first, other than luxury products. But having said it, the top tier brands, at least for Lange, for our brand, or for I believe for Richard Mille, particular other top tier brands, there hasn't been too much negative impact, because we are facing the top 1 or top 3% spending power on this planet who are buying these luxury timepieces, and then I don't see it's getting too much affected. But the other thing is that thanks to the COVID, if there's no COVID, we will not be doing Facebook Live today, right? That's the good thing about the fairly good thing about this virus is that it actually pushes us to go digital, but to go digital in a very good way. Because previously, you go digital, it's more like a selling promotion ceremony. That you just want to sell. But there's a lot more you can do on the digital side. You can influence and have a live chat, catch up with friends, and have some really legit interviews that people can actually learn from it.
Yeah, I guess when watch brands talk about going digital, like what you said, it's really they are just really thinking about e-commerce and selling the watches. But with certain brands, maybe that could be the case. But with some niche brands, there's a lot of knowledge to be gotten online and engagement to be had as well online, and I guess that is equally, if not more important part of that online engagement process, because it is really hard to just, I don't know, unless you're really wealthy, to just go online and just buy a Lange watch online, right? Because
But it's hard, right? People to, I'm most likely it will be like people call online, and they can put a deposit, or they will ask questions about Lange watches. Then they will still go to boutique. They will still go to boutique to physically experience the boutique and the watch.
Yeah, yeah.
But do you think
Call it trial.
do you think the pandemic has caused people to look at luxury watches differently now?
Either Andy, like, wow, again. Andy, did you catch her question?
No, I didn't. What was the question?
Yeah, I was asking if you think that the pandemic has caused people to look at luxury watches differently now, and to think about to change the way they want to buy luxury watches.
If there was no pandemic, by 2020, people would look at watches in a different way anyway, because last year we've had the bubble for this for the watches that reached a historical high, right? We're talking about maybe not bubbles, but like huge premium on all the hot models, premium everywhere, limited edition sold out everywhere, all of this situation. That was 2019. Without the pandemic, that this year people would still have a think about what they really want to buy in the future. And also, at the same time, let's talk about this COVID. After COVID, people would spend money only on the real good stuffs. So if they will spend money, but they will spend on the good stuff. We're talking about some good brands, for sure Lange, but also Lange, Patek, Pigeon. I still vote for Richard Mille, Rolex, Tudor, all of the good brands. People will spend money on. What will be suffering is the brands or the products that are in the middle. They are not the cheapest one. They are not the most affordable ones, but they are not the really good ones. So they are floating in the middle, and they will suffer. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's end on this last comment. I'd like to get your view from what Daniel was saying. Domestic spending within luxury within China will go up, but global spending will go down. Hard to get your money out because of the geopolitical situations and anti-Chinese sentiment. So, yeah, rich people spending money in China only and not going anywhere else to buy. And also, to another point, the Chinese consumers are very far ahead in terms of e-commerce.
Yeah. Look, I think when everybody's saying that everybody's talking about China, people all love China. China is so great. China has so many business opportunities. That's what she said, right? I mean, do they really care about China, or do they care about Chinese consumers more? So if they care about Chinese consumers, they're everywhere. So it's actually the Chinese consumers buying almost 50% of the luxury products. China is a big market for luxury. There are also many more like Asian or Chinese immigrants that live outside mainland China buying luxury products. So we'll see. I mean, they're mature in a way. They're definitely not yet mature in watch collecting. I was born in China. I'm speaking on behalf of being as a half westernized Chinese, but I think the Chinese collectors are at least 5 years behind in watch collecting, and 18 months behind choosing the best watch models or like the novelties. 18 months behind.
Okay.
And I shared that topic with a very well-known industrial legend. So we sometimes we have some catch up, right? So we have the same opinion. So,
right.
Yeah.
It,
Is
it,
that because the Chinese are very fixated on certain brands? Why would you say that they are still, behind?
I think first of all, the access to Google, Facebook, all of these international channels are very restricted, which means they will only read the media material or the information half a year after all the things got translated, or all of this information goes through other channels, and they need another 6 months to digest, right? Then they'll start to pick up their novelties, where at the same time outside made in China that people already jump on the novelties when the novelties are released on the first day. Let's say Singapore, if it is a novelty release, the following day there will be collectors putting deposit.
So Ben is asking now, which country is Ben at the forefront?
United States and Japan, and Singapore.
Well, in Singapore, we think that our domestic market has reached a saturation point, in terms of what collectors are, who the collectors are, and what they're buying. But it's really interesting because speaking to you, you're almost like a representative. Your age, your capacity to spend, your interests and knowledge level seems to be what a lot of luxury watch brands want to talk to. Someone like you. So it has really been interesting to hear like your perspectives on what works and what doesn't work, and how brands ought to communicate, and how receptive people like you are to the luxury watch market at this point in time.
Sorry, I forgot to mention something, that if we talk about buying power, the youngest client I've ever had since I joined Lange, and it's a 17 years old young man who is already wearing a datograph perpetual calendar.
Wow.
And he's listening to Bob Dylan as his favorite music every day. So this is the Generation Z, the new generation. This is beyond millennial, and they are the future. And I believe they're on the right track. They are on the right track.
Do you think this was because he was influenced by his parents' generation, or is it something that he's picking up on his own?
If you look at the career these kids they want to take on, they're jumping into designing. They're in a fashion designing, art. They've had enough money that they don't need to really start another factory and then, I don't know, manufacture some gears for, I don't know. So they don't need to do the traditional stuff. So that gives them lots of freedom to think about what they really want. So that would reflect on their watch choices.
Yeah,
so when he was,
Sorry, but I mean, a 17-year-old, I'm just picturing myself as a 17-year-old. I don't know whether I actually can understand the value of what I'm actually putting on my wrist. If you're talking about a perpetual calendar on the wrist, maybe the guy's way advanced, but he could be just a really rich 17-year-old. 70-year-old with really rich parents. So that's back to what we talked about. Right at the start, it's like there's the amount of money we can spend on watches, but there's also the passion and the knowledge that you get from watch collecting as a craft, hundreds of years of culture and art. I really don't know, man. Like, a 17-year-old to have that is like, that might be a bit too much. And
no, he was given an opportunity. I wish I can have this opportunity. So it's his 17th birthday, and for sure he was lucky. He has a very good family, and he's able to have his birthday gift. So I spoke to Matthew. That's his name. I spoke to Matt. I said, "Look, I can introduce many watches to you. So at your age, do you want an Audemars Piguet or Richelieu?" He said no, that's not his tape. I'm like, okay, that's not your type, and what do you want? And he goes like, I want classic watches. That's a shock to me already. I'm like, okay, at your age, you were born in 2003. That was the year you were born, and then you already want a classic watches. Then I said to him, okay, then I give you Patek and Lange. You choose one, right? He said, oh, I don't want watches that people can see it straight away and know what I'm wearing. Okay, thank you very much. Then we only have one option left. Then I show him the Sightwalk, because Sightwalk is it has a funky dial. So I think, yeah, this is good, right? This young man, he will rock at the Sightwalk, and he can go clubbing still, and he can get numbers from girls, and living his life. So I show him the Sightwalk, it doesn't click. So I said, okay, man, why don't you just walk around the boutique and pick up your favorite watch, and don't figure out the price yet, just pick up your favorite one. And that was the only watch he picked up, the Datograph Perpetual Calendar. So I enjoyed this process. I mean, and this young man, we are good friends now. He has been working hard to trying to achieve what he wants to do. That's good. And he's wearing his watch every day. I like it. Yeah.
Amazing.
That's what I do. Huh? That's what I do for my job.
Job satisfaction.
Yeah.
Well, like what Alvin said earlier, I mean, you are really the epitome of what every luxury watch brand really wants to talk to. The customer that watch brands are looking at, and I think we've really got a lot of valuable insights from you tonight. And well, Daniel here says being a watch connoisseur is having an appreciation of watches at all levels, not just the high-priced items. Watch collecting doesn't come with the exclusivity of the price. Is that something you agree with? It's not about the price.
Yeah, it's a mentality that Dan, we've known each other for a long time, and including other friends, we always say that it doesn't make you a connoisseur if you're wearing a tourbillon, right? But you can be a connoisseur if you know every single thing about your Casio. And simple as that, you don't. The price would not do any justice to your identity of progressing to be the watch connoisseur. You have to understand the brand you're wearing, the watch. The price comes later, right? So you can still appreciate all different watches. I wear Casio over the weekend. I wear my full metal jacket Casio. So I bought my kids a Gundam.
18K gold Casio that you're wearing?
Sorry?
Is it a 18K gold Casio that you're wearing?
The black one. The black one. Not the gold one. The black DLC. The gold is for you, Alvin. No, the gold is not for me.
Gold plated, iron plated.
That's a foundation piece.
Yeah. But yeah, you have to. I mean, and I also believe that being as a watch connoisseur or collector, that he should be. He has experienced all different price tags or different watches. It's not like he jumps in and says, "I only collect tourbillons." Okay. Maybe you're a watch connoisseur. Maybe.
Great. Thank you so much for talking with us tonight, Andy. I think
No problem. Pleasure.
Definitely got a lot of great insights and sound bites from you. I hope those of you who have tuned in and joined us in this chat learned a lot as well from Andy. I mean, his foundation collection is awesome, and I think he really just gave us some great insights into the world of collecting. So thank you so much, Andy.
Thank you, guys.
For your insight. And well, enjoy the rest of the evening, guys.
Right.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for watching this.
Thank you.
Right. Thanks to all who have tuned in. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.